Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back. If this is your first time, welcome. Thanks for hopping in. Today is a very interesting topic, and this is in our series of workshops. And today we're going to find out, how you determine what works best for you so that you can get what you want. I think you'll find it very informative. So let's get right into the PowerPoint and get things underway. Share the screen with you. Get rid of that one. That's last week's. Okay, and we're going to resume from here. All right. So production management, how to know what works so you can get what you want. So how does the business work? Well, when one sees that they can get what they want by doing Nikan or using Nikan, it's one way. When other people buy or consume the products that you have to offer is another way. When people, happy customers, refer others to you who then buy your products, it's working then. When people decide to do the business and become distributors, well, I think it's working then. When people get the benefits that they are after and what they want, then it's working then. When you get what you want, I think it's working. I know it was for me. And when you make more than you spend and become viable. So those are some of the, the basics of how the business actually works. Production and activity, how do we define this? So this could be defined as the work we do, something that creates a result, being busy doing something at work, prospecting for a customer or a partner. Following up with prospects or customers, presenting your program or product, making a sale, signing up a new partner. And I'm sure you could figure out a whole host of other activities or productive activities or what we call production. Results are created, and they're created by doing activities that are known to create the results. So as you know, the first step is to figure out what method you will use in order to communicate to other people to get the ball rolling for the current period of time that you're working on. If you're just getting started, if this is a new month, new launch period, whatever the case may be. And this could be done by creating a list of people that you could talk to. This could be done by finding places to advertise or make yourself known, like social media. Or this could be done by, going out to areas where you can meet other people. Now, once you have figured out the method or the methods that you're going to utilize, the next part is actually going out to require something that you do. You got to do the activity or activities. Now, these activities need to be tracked. And this is the key to this whole workshop today. And you want to track them so that you can see what happens when you do certain activities over time. Tracking this information will allow you to see how your way of doing things creates a result or how it works. And many people end up spending time doing activities that get them nowhere. And this is a very important point. Now, in helping you and giving you some more information, I contacted a number of our leaders to find out some information about them and talk to Michael DiMuccio, and this was his favorite approach. And you can also get it on YouTube. He has an audio recording that's listed here. You can write that down as you're recording and go see it. So it's called Contact and Invite. It's a direct approach with planned contacts. Planned contacts are people on your contact list that you've identified as being entrepreneurial, influential, and resourceful. Now, the approach script involves three components. And we talked in the last workshop on creating your scripts that you do have to have an approach script. And again, this is what he's identified here. And his approach script involves these three components of, number one, his motive. What was his reason for doing this and getting involved? Number two, as part of the motive of one or two of the 5 pillars that they may entertain as a possibility to partner with him, it would be me in this particular case. And then the other is the offer. And it's the transition to request their help and engagement in becoming 100% informed to see if they can help directly or indirectly. So the basic idea here is to sell the process of information, nothing else. And if possible, leverage a product demo to pique their interest in going through the information. So that was Michael's approach. Let's move on. This is Botanis's favorite approach. And after a few minutes of relaxed conversation to establish a rapport, I asked 4 questions. 1, what are you doing for a living? And then number 2 is, what do you like about it? Now, here's the important part about asking that question. Listen carefully to their answer and see if you can get a value of theirs, you know, a good workplace, helping people, enjoyment, and that's what they like about what they do. What don't you like about it? Interesting question, and listen carefully to their answer. A challenge, not enough income, not enjoying the work, bad boss, etc. Now, next and last question, are you open to looking at something where you can, you know, utilize their first value, earn good income while helping in their, you know, their second value or challenge that they're having, all in a stress-free, friendly environment with no boss? Very interesting questions. Now, again, these are going to get you answers that you're going to want to deal with, and very important. So it's have a friendly conversation, find out what's right for them, whether just the products or also earning income with Nikan. Give them what they want, very important. Products. Set up a time to share the products if you have not done so. The business. Set up a time to share the many benefits of the business, and do an ABC whenever possible. Okay, so that's Bo's approach. Okay. Moving forward, this is Madeline Zaworski's approach. So she gave us 2 examples here to utilize. Is this a good time? How are you and, you know, somebody else, if there's somebody else involved, a partner? We haven't spoken in a while, and I wanted to catch up with you, see what's happening in your life, especially over the occurrences since March 20th, 2020, and see if you might be interested in meeting or Zoom, connecting up for an update in what I've come to appreciate after 23 years with Nikan. And it might be of interest to you or someone in your family or a friend who might be in a pause, and see if any questions come up as a result of that. So Madeline has been doing this for a while, so that's her confidence coming out there. She feels comfortable about being able to deal with whatever questions come out, and it's a direct approach. And, you know, just I haven't talked to you in a long time. Let me tell you what's cooking. Okay, that's one. Here's another interesting one. And this is somebody that maybe she ran into in her travels, and it's, you know, hi, Joan, this is Madeline Zaworski. I'm curious if you remember me. We met at whatever the occasion was, or I was referred to you by, again, whatever person or customer, or I honestly can't remember how we met, but I have your contact information in my phone and notes that said, I'd be happy to meet when my life settles down a bit. And if you have a few minutes, would like to learn more about what, you know, you and where you are today, especially since the changes in the world since March 2020, what I do, and determine if there's an interest for you or someone in your family, associates, to learn more about. So again, it's another approach to contact people that she's become very comfortable with. Okay, Ben Woodward. Listen first, then speak. Very good advice. I love this approach most because it can significantly reduce or remove the fear factor out of approaching people. Very interesting. I want to know what their needs are, where their pain points are, and what they are looking for in order to be happier. So by asking questions, being interested and authentic, and recognizing that this process doesn't complete in a single conversation or interaction. I build relationships so when the time is right, I can say, I have something for you that I know will help. And when that moment comes, they have an open heart to respond positively. All right, very interesting approach. Done, use that one too. So if we look at the primary activity of the business, asking people who you observe or know that might need or want what you're offering is probably the main activity. You want to know if they're interested in taking a further look. You want to know if they'd be interested in taking an in-depth look, depending on what the circumstance. Would they like more information? Or if they'd like to learn about the technologies or the business or the benefits. So essentially, we contact, and then we have to determine what's next, and that comes through conversation, asking questions, and then our job is to provide information. Now, the information that we can provide, answers, potential solutions, direction on what's available, what they are curious about. I mean, this could go any way possible. In the previous workshop in Creating Your Story, I told you a couple of stories of different situations where I contacted or approached other people and then got them either the product, got them involved with the business. So again, if we look at all of these examples that were just given, we're all doing the same thing. We're contacting people, and then we're working on trying to figure out what's needed and or wanted, and a way to present what we have to offer to the public. Now, the second activity, and this would be, in my opinion, the second most important activity of business, is the follow-up. And this is the activity that will create most of the results that you get. And the follow-up activity begins with anyone you have communicated with or on anything you've talked about. So it could be you talk to somebody today and you're calling them back tomorrow to finish the story, go on further, whatever the case may be. And in our previous workshops, Creating Your Story, creating a follow-up story is one of many stories you need to create, especially since this could be one of your busiest activities. And provided you get out and contact lots of people to begin with, so you have people to follow up with, if you get my drift. So it's been said, fortune is in the follow-up, and it is absolutely a true statement. Now, for me, this was where I had the most fun. And the key here was having something new to talk about. And again, I learned this in another arena. I learned this when I was selling the oil and gas property interests, and when I had to call people back, a lot of times it was, who are you? What's this about? So it had to be a real bang, positive piece of information, something new, something I hadn't heard about. And what happened in a lot of cases, it was that totally got them back to being where they were at the time that we made the presentation, and they were very interested. And so be positive and be assumptive in those follow-ups. So when you're getting back with someone and you want to plan what you want to plan what you're going to communicate, you want to plan the direction you're going to take, whether it's a business builder and you're following up to get them started, or whether it's a consumer to get a particular product. So if it's to get the order or fill out the application, you will call with the idea that they've already decided to move forward. So that's the first posture. The first posture is you're going to assume that they're ready to get going. And be positive. Don't assume that they're not, because that kind of defeats the purpose of what you're doing. So it's, just as an example, hi, John, I trust all's good. Yeah. Good, great day today. All right. So I'm logged onto the internet and I'm ready to get you started. What name will you be using? Something like that. Now, from here, you deal with whatever comes up. In most cases, I found it goes the way I directed it. Again, directed it, and based on prior conversations or many prior conversations. This is a key activity to track, and you will see a definite relationship to results. I'm going to show you that near the end of this presentation. Okay. The other activities of the business. Now, there are many activities that you do in the course of your day, week, month, life, for that matter. Some contribute to what you're after and or help you get what you want, and some waste your time and don't help you at all. Interesting. Now, the success of good management comes by knowing what works best for you based on your characteristics and conditions, as we learned in the previous workshop. With enough production and direct observation, it becomes very easy to see what's working and contributing to your success, or to the lack of success for that matter. Now, to play this aspect of the game, it's not difficult, but it's classified as intelligent, as you will get where you want much faster than simply guessing what's going on. So if we take a look at some of the activities that we do, you make phone calls, you send out texts, you do emails, you write, some might write letters, you place ads on the internet or social media, you make presentations, you do follow-up calls. You have live meetings that you might do. You have Zooms that you're involved with or that you do. You're inviting guests to participate and play. You're actually getting actual attendees on events or at events. Sometimes it's just a spontaneous talk, and then there's the time you spent on prospecting. Okay, all of these activities can contribute to the results that you get. So the whole idea here is to track the activities you do by writing down and recording every day what you did. Now, ideally, we want to use a weekly time frame and create a weekly total for each category. I know that Beacon operates monthly for some categories, but if you use a week, then it's easier to see relationships of activity to results. And also, the shorter the period of time to evaluate, the faster you can correct something that is not working to your liking. And I'll show you. So for example, we're going to track here. These are phone calls made. So, Monday you did 10, Tuesday 12, Wednesday 4, etc. The total for the week is 37. And then if we march this forward in time, we got this week was 37, the next week's 26, the next week's 40, 15, 45, and 50. Now, that's great. You did these phone calls, you've listed them out. The trend is moving in an upward direction, which is good. And why you're doing this is so you can see a relationship to the results you get and to see if these phone calls are doing you any good or helping you get the products that you want. Here's another one on example of tracking your production. Same kind of idea. Presentation made. So you made one on Monday, 2 on Tuesday, none on Wednesday, none on Thursday, 2 on Friday, none on Saturday, none on Sunday. Total for the week was 5. And then again, you march all into the future and you list what you did over a course of a week. And again, the trend for all of this is upward, which is good, with the high point being 8. And again, this is going to be compared to the results that you get. All right. So it's getting going and doing the activities that becomes your most important task. In the Getting Organized workshop, point number 7, orders must be given to get production started. So if you had employees, and they came to work, you tell them to start, you punch a clock, whatever the case may be. Well, you're the boss. And so you're the one doing the activities for the most part to begin with, and you need to create a way to give yourself the orders. And I found an easy way a long time ago, and a method I've been using it 30 plus years in a daily planning system. And I use a typical 8.5 by 11 writing pad that's inserted into a portfolio binder. I got a picture coming up next. And the current day is on the right side and the previous days are on the left after being torn off the pad. And I usually keep a month's worth of those torn off pages so that I can go back and look at notes or whatever the case may be. And because my business is a corporation, I store all sheets as corporate records, but when I make a corporate decision, I also write it down. And this becomes handy so that the directions of the corporation, this is a requirement, a legal requirement to be done. So that's how I kind of got used to doing this. And so very important. So here's a picture. So there's the right-hand side. That's the current day. So I get up in the morning, I put the time, and then I start working on this. I have my coffee, and my goal today was 100%, and that to me has a meaning. It's significant. And then my administrative functions of checking the bank, checking numbers, checking volumes, whatever the case may be, to get a rundown of where I'm at for the day, and then a list out of everything I want to do for that day, including into the evening and when I got some relaxed time or sometimes a meeting, dinner, lunch, other activities that I got to do. And then on the right-hand side, I've got all my projects. So that these are all the projects that I've got cooking over a period of time. Some are going into 2022. And then here's the previous day. So you can see it's kind of a stack of them of the previous day. And then if I need to go into the future, I just lift up the page and, figure out how many days moving forward. I've tried to find systems out there that, I just couldn't find anything that worked and suited my particular needs. So that's what I do. Now, each and every day when I get up, sometimes the night before, I list out all the activities that I need to do that day or that I want to do according to my plans and strategies that I've created for the current period of time that I'm working on, whether it's a month, whether it's a week, whether it's, a 90-day launch, whatever the case may be. I also list out all my projects that I'm working on. You remember the projects from getting organized in the first session. And I do that well into the future, filing your tax returns, things like that, because this is both corporate and personal and business. So there's a lot of things that are going on this sheet of paper that I've got records for that I can pop back. And it's amazing. I've done this for 30 years. Now, I think I threw out the first 20 years. I might have 10 years in storage, but I thought of keeping them forever and then writing a book, because then it would list everything I did on any given day. It was kind of interesting. Anyway, and as I start to work the day, I tackle one thing at a time. So that's the first thing, the second thing, the third thing, the fourth thing. If it gets done, I make sure it's ticked off. So when I do something, I tick it off. So that if I look at the sheet, I can see what ticked off. I don't have to worry about it. It's done. It's over with. I just have to focus on the activities left to do that day and so on and so forth. Sometimes I finish them quicker than others. I can add more projects in or whatever the case may be. And if I can't get the thing done, then I reschedule or move it to another day. Very simple. All right. So here's the game to play here, is to get everything done on the list that day. And then you can see that if you list all the activities that are required to reach a goal for that day or a period of time, and you do them, then you can reach the goal. Pretty simple stuff. It's like if I'm trying to get to 10, I do one a day. I need 10 days to get to 10. If I write it down, then I'm going to probably do it. If I don't write it down and it stays up here, it can get lost and so on and so forth. So as an example, after I went diamond in 1996, I then set out a plan to go royal diamond. And each and every month I had the plan to go royal with a complete list of all the activities that needed to be done in order to reach my goal. And then I looked at every day, every week, every month in that fashion. Well, by following the plan and giving myself the orders to do the activities, okay, that's the key here. After 2 years, I completed all activities and reached the goal of royal diamond. And the key here was doing the activities that are known to create the results, and then manage the effectiveness of how I did them. It's kind of like the same story in the creating, your stories, when I talked about the oil and gas business that I was involved with, where I had to make these presentations. And again, they didn't hire me for my skills. They hired me for the activities that I would do based on their direction. And they knew that if people did the activities that they were told to do, then they would get the results that they wanted to get. Really simple stuff. Okay. So how do you know what works best for you? So management, or being the CEO, so to speak, which is what you are of your business, could be defined as evaluating what has been produced or not produced. So you're the boss, and let's say you make coffee cups and you have a factory. And so you get in the morning, you got people working for you, and you have an assembly line, and you got raw materials coming in the front door, and out the back door are these coffee cups. Now, maybe they're embossed or printed with logos or whatever, but you go and you're the boss. You inspect the results that are being created, and you evaluate how well the business is doing, and you have your books and you look at your accounting and so on and so forth. Management, or being the CEO, could be an activity that coordinates activities to be done to change or improve results. So if you are monitoring what you're doing and comparing it to your results, and you're not happy with it, as the CEO, your job is to figure out how to improve that, right? How to do more, how to do it better, how to get rid of waste, how to, save time, etc. Looking for solutions to problems, situations, growth, and stability, strategy and planning on what to do or what to improve or what to correct, creating viability, profitability, working on growth and expansion, and knowing what works and what doesn't. So that's really your job as the CEO, but you're also the worker too, aren't you? So in the previous workshop, Creating Your Story, it was mentioned that once you are in, it is no longer about you, but it's all about those that you communicate with, their interests, their needs, their desires, their problems. Your role, as you learned, is to find others to play. And this is how the business works when others play with you, either as customers or business partners. Pretty simple. So now you can use all kinds of hocus pocus to make yourself feel good about why you're doing this and so on and so forth. But bottom line is this: results are created by decisions followed by doing activities and nothing else. Period. Let's really focus on here. So the results are created by you making a decision that you're going to go do something and then go do the activities and nothing else. So, you can go sit on a mountaintop and dream all about the wonderful things you want, and that's fine. But then you must do. Get it? Now, if there is a secret, okay, then it is this: how well you communicate what you have to others so that they buy your products or join you in the business, because that's how it works. See, if you don't have customers and you don't have business builders, it doesn't work. So there's your real secret. So once you engage in an activity, there's going to be a time and an amount of or numbers of whatever that activity that determines or contributes to the results or the no results. So you might go out and talk to 10 people and get no 10 times. Or you might go out and talk to one person, they say yes. Okay. So the results may lag behind the activity. So you go out today or tomorrow or next week or next month and make a presentation, and then 2 months later, they decide they want to buy. All right, that's fine too. So results come about by successfully applying the activities of our business that are known to create the results. Don't worry about the results. Focus on the activities. When you create results, then look at what you did to create them. Got it? So you could go out and talk to 20 people, make a number of calls and do a number of presentations before you get a sale or get someone to join you in the business. Or you could sign up one person the first time you talk to them. So now, what does your future hold in store for you? By tracking this activity and comparing it to the results, then practicing and doing more, one could then expect to become better and get even better results. And here's the key point. Activities create results when done successfully and in sufficient quantities over time. As there are many activities that contribute to your results, it's more than likely that more than one activity is going to contribute to any given result. So, to sell a product, you need to make a list, you need to make calls, you might have to send emails, you make appointments, you're going to do a presentation, you're going to do follow-up calls, and you're going to ask for the order. And sometimes, many times, you're going to ask for the order. Your objective is evaluate how you did. Then better what works, obviously, and then decrease what doesn't until you have mastered what you do. And even then, you will from time to time evaluate and tweak as necessary. I mean, I'm 30 years into this business in my 31st year, and I'm still taking a look at what I do or what I don't do, but in a different way. Okay. You have a plan and you go about doing as much as you can. Track what you do, and then in specific periods of time, evaluate the relationship of all activities to all results. You will then see what works and what doesn't work. And it is these relationships that tell you what works best. And I'm going to show you an example of this near the end. And these relationships tell you where to improve and do more of, or where to slow down and do less of. All right. Now, based on observation and experience, there are as many different ways of doing the activities of the business as there are people doing the business. Okay. There's so many different ways. The key here is to understand what they are. I mean, what are the activities? Then figure out how do you do them, and then you practice and evaluate your performance. Can't judge based on me, can't judge based on Bo, you can't judge based on Michael. We all did our own thing and we all got to where we wanted to get to. That's the bottom line. So if we look at these examples for the approach by myself, Michael, Bo, Madeline, Ben, at the end of the day, we're all doing basically the same thing. However, there's slightly different approaches to getting that job done. So then this is a key point, especially when you listen to others and their results. So you learned in the last workshop that circumstances and conditions of individuals contribute to this. So let's say a doctor who's involved, and I've had doctors in my business, many of them, and they've been in lots of them in Nikan, has a constant flow of patients, and based on their observation, communications with what they're dealing with those patients, they can easily find out what's needed and or wanted, and then get them the appropriate products that they want to get to. And of course, most patients are going to do what the doctor says to do. Now, if you're not a doctor, then you have an additional step. And you can learn from what the examples that we've demonstrated to make this work, and then see if those approaches work with you. And I went a completely different route. I went the business route and didn't deal with the product. I mean, I did secondarily, but it was primary focus on the business. So by doing lots of any activity, you become very proficient. So that's the key. So what do you need to know? And again, I'll give you that again. You need to know what you want so you can play the right game. Very important here. You need to know what you want so you can play the right game. So, and this is the key to success. Doing the activities that create the results then allows you to get what you want. So let's doing the activities that create the results that then allow you to get what you want. So, you look at this, somebody's working in a job somewhere and they're minimum wage, but what they want is they want to be financially independent. They want to have freedom. They want to do other things, but the activities that they're doing aren't going to get them there. They're just not set up for it. So really what becomes the issue is how important then is it to know what you really want? And then how important then is it to be with the right company or culture or business that supports this focus? So what are the key activities of the company you represent? And if we look at Nikan, it's product sales, distributor signups, and training. Those are the products that are produced by Nikan. So what do product sales, distributor signups, and training create emotionally and tangibly? Well, income, solutions, joy, gratitude, sense of helping others, fulfillment, relief, satisfaction, growth potential, physical benefits, skills. I'm sure this list could go on forever. All right, there isn't one specific thing because we're all different, aren't we? Okay, so the right perspective to understand here is what makes the company work, and then obviously you do what you need to do to follow in their footsteps. Plain and simple. Now, with increased success in product sales and business development, your choices increase as to what you're able to, the overall effect you have with helping others. With increased success, you get more of what it is you want as well. No matter if the activities you do create the right results, and if these results get you what you want. Very, very important. Now, Nikan became my main activity for financial and economic support. My success has allowed me to do many other activities that I wanted to do. And that helped me fulfill my purpose and get me what I wanted, period. Like many other areas of endeavor, Nikan can become a wonderful career, or more specifically, a wonderful way to live life while engaged in getting what it is you want. Now, the amount, and again, this doesn't necessarily mean money, the amount of benefit you get will be based on the degree of success you create. And if you're going to play, then give it your all and play as hard as you can. It's a lot of fun. Now, by observation, doing Nikan is like any other business in that if you can't pay the bills from being involved, you more than likely aren't going to remain involved or active unless you're financially stable and don't need the income. By observation, if you don't pay attention to what needs to be done and focus on doing that, you can lose interest, you can go broke, or worse, become disaffected. By observation, the activity of doing Nikan costs money, and you can easily spend more than you make if you don't understand what to do. And by observation, you won't talk about what you don't understand. By observation, you won't do what you don't understand. Take the time to learn as much as you can, find a good mentor, stay inside the business for help, and work like crazy. So here's an example and a case study of tracking production and results. Now, just this is a quick overview or summary of volume and gross income over a period of July through May. And if you look at the volume starting in the left, and this is when this individual started, and it constantly grew. And the income constantly grew. And now this person's close to $2,500 a month and creating a nice income, which was all part of the plan. Okay. So if we look at the specific activities that were tracked, and we just looked at this year, we have the customer calls, we have the customer texts, we have the customer follow-up calls, we have the total of all push-out activities, all the outflow, text calls, emails, anything that was pushing out, that was the total outflow. Customer emails, number of sales made, and then again compared that to the actual volume and the gross income. Now, in looking at this, there's a number of looks that you get from the preceding graphs of production in relationship to the results. And the first thing that we want to look at is the trend. Is it moving up or is it moving down? So if it's moving up, that's a good sign. If it's moving down, that's a bad sign. So one is if it's moving up, everything we're doing is probably pretty good. And if it's moving down, then we got to figure out what's wrong and fix it. Are there any graphs that look familiar? In other words, is the trend or the shape of one graph related to another graph? Are there any familiarities or similarities there? Now, is there any lag to a similar graph? In other words, does there appear to be a pattern in a previous time frame that's showing up in a current time frame? And again, I'm going to show you this, how it works. And can you see activities that lead to other activities that contribute to a result? Okay. So you make contact and presentations today that don't become a sale for 30 to 60 days from now, and they may never become sales. The overall objective here is to totally engage in what you do. In other words, be a professional. Make it fun and rewarding and play as hard and as smart as you can. And there's nothing like spending most, if not all, your time on activities that work and create results. When you do this, you end up getting what you want, and that apparently is the objective of playing the game. Okay, so let's now look at some comparisons here to see what we see. So if we look at this period of time, the February to April and the customer calls, you got a little bit of a down and an up. Where else do we see a little bit of a down and an up? Okay, in that sense of what we've got. Well, if we look at over here to volume, we got a little bit of a down and up. If we look at income, we got a down and an up. Oh, those look fairly familiar. Okay, and that's in March and through May. This was February through April. So prior to this going up, we had this going up. So calls. What about customer follow-ups? Here's an interesting relationship. The March through May customer follow-ups are almost identical in shape to the gross income and the volume. If we notice customer calls, customer follow-ups, customer emails, number of sales made, and a total outflow are all trending upward. So is the volume, so is the income. Okay, now what does this mean for this particular consultant from the standpoint of knowledge? Well, when they look at these charts, they can see the relationship of their activities to the results that were created. So in this particular case, customer texts. Well, you could maybe look at the January to March, it's a similar shape, but really it's not contributing to this result here. What's contributing to this were the customer calls, the customer emails, the follow-ups, and the sales. So if we look at this, the key to figure out what works for you, okay, so let's just work this backwards a little bit. Results are created, and they're created by doing activities. What activities? That's what has to be determined. So here's a successful path for you to follow. Number one, get organized. Watch that video and that workshop, and it'll list all the things that you need to put together to get yourself organized. Number two, what is it that you need to do? And then again, in that workshop, it tells you specifically what you need to do. Then number three, create your stories that you need to create. Then go to work, all right, and then monitor your activities so that you can see the relationship of your activities to the results. And then once you've got that down, then you can, move forward and expand and grow more, et cetera, et cetera. Now, when I started doing this business, and again, I started with the products, and then I found out that the business was more my cup of tea. I found that talking about the business was more of interest to me. I found out what I needed was based around the business. So I focused my attention and monitored the activities of talking about the business. And here's what I saw. If I talked to enough people about the same idea that it was interesting to me, I found enough people that was interesting to them. And the rest was history. And I kept that approach going and building other people's businesses with them. We did the same approach. If I look at the story of Ralph and Jerry, it was the exact same thing. What did they want? They wanted to replace her income. They wanted an opportunity to work together. They wanted to make enough money that would, set them up for their final retirement. And they wanted to get her out of corporate America so she could take her severance package. And they wanted to know how much time they had to work with. Well, laid out all those answers. And then we went to work. We went to work. We did the activities that were required to be done, and they reached the level of platinum. They made themselves $200,000 or $300,000 over a period of 3 or 4 years, and they sailed off into the sunset. Now, they knew what they wanted, and then we knew what had to be done, and then we focused on the activities, and then we monitored what worked and what didn't. And Ralph was good at certain things. Jerry was good at other things. So we did that. We focused them each on doing the activities that they were good at. And it worked like magic. We had a ball. It was an absolute blast. So again, get organized, figure out what you need to do, create your stories, go to work, monitor your activities, and then look for the next workshop. And the next workshop, I believe, is going to be on the compensation plan. So look forward to that. So I'm going to stop the share here. I think that's it. Yeah. Okay. So here's my information. If you need me for anything, my email is rolfman@earthlink.net. You can phone me at 617-388-9109. And my website is daverolf.com. And there's a lot more information on there. All these videos are posted there. And then there's the Smart Networker program is also on the website that you'll find very fascinating. So again, thanks for being on today. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll now go into a little bit of Q&A for the live session on Saturday. Stop the share. And again, thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. And we'll stop the recording now.